love to see her coming, I'd say, here to tell us how we can make shopping choices that benefit our diet and our pocket. It is health food advocate Sophie Morris. Hello, how are you?
Hi, thanks for having me.
We're going to probably see a video of what it is. Tell us what it is exactly that you do, Sophie, when you're going into these supermarkets.
I'm really just going in, and it's quite simple. I'm really just looking at the back of a packet. I'm saying to people that we can't really go on the front of the packaging to make our choices of whether a product is going to be beneficial for our health or not, because we have to remember that there's so much marketing that goes on. So I'm really kind of just showing people that we need to look beyond the health claims on the front of packaging. We have to flip the pack around, see what's actually in it, read the nutrition information so that we can be fully informed as to whether, okay, this product is actually as healthy as it sounds on the front. So I really just reading the ingredients.
But it's really hard to do nowadays, isn't it? Because you've got, it's so, it's chemical formulas. You have no idea what the hell all these things are.
Yeah.
It's like everything has protein all of a sudden. You're like, what's going on with this? It can be hard to decipher these things.
It's definitely hard to decipher if you are just looking at the marketing on the front.
Yeah, okay.
And we have to remember that the companies that are producing these products, they are profit driven. Okay, they're not putting protein in there because they're concerned about our protein content or our health. They're doing it to drive sales. They put huge margins on these products because there's a narrative that we all need more protein. So people will pay for this. And I'm saying, look, we can't just look at the front. You need to turn the packet around and you need to see what's actually in here, because some of those products have more sugar than protein. And that's been a huge eye-opener for people, you know.
The days of eating just potatoes and meat or whatever else are long gone. Obviously, there's processed foods. But the thing now with a lot of supermarkets and shop is the ultra-processed foods with thickeners and sweeteners and everything else in it. So realistically, what you think you're buying on the front of the packet, it's the ultra-processed. So what would you describe as ultra-processed foods?
So an ultra-processed product is one that's gone through multiple stages of industrial processing. So it combines like extracts of the original whole food ingredient that you would recognise, extracts of that with artificial additives and industrial ingredients. So essentially the end product is very far removed from the original ingredients. And people were so unaware when they were doing their shopping that that was the reality of a lot of the products. Like, people have been gobsmacked by just this simple act of reading your ingredients. People just couldn't get over what was really in those foods.
What sort of things are they putting in?
They're adding, like you say, a lot of emulsifiers, stabilizers, a lot of preservatives, thickeners, artificial sweeteners, artificial flavors. So when a product goes through so much processing, it loses a lot of its flavor. So they're having to add synthetic additives back in to make up for that loss of flavor. So something might say like strawberry over the front, but actually it's just artificial strawberry flavouring put in there. It's not real strawberry in there, you know. And so, and the evidence is clear now that the diets that are high in ultra-processed foods are linked to a greater risk of diseases, you know, chronic diseases on the rise. So that's really the issue here, is that a small amount of these products is absolutely fine. We don't need to be worried about every single product. But the reality is the average Irish shopping basket now is about 50% ultra-processed foods. So it is problematic. So I'm really trying to show people in a very, very practical, simple way of how to just reduce their exposure to all these ultra-processed foods, because they're everywhere. Like, we are bombarded with them. We're bombarded.
And that's, like, I remember years ago when they were like, can we get rid of, they wanted to get the chocolates away from the supermarket checkouts because it was like kids were getting all this stuff. But now it's compounded by everything else. We all know that, like, with, you know, this is political.
Yeah.
Because you've got, like, American companies want to get foods inside here, and Europe are kind of going, no, well, listen, you've got different process to us. This is not happening. It's a multi-billion euro industry. Like, that is what it is. And they want to keep us having these sort of addictive foods. So you kind of started doing these. I think we've got one of your videos. You go into supermarkets and you're like, Harriet, pick something up and look at this.
Yeah.
What's in this? What's going on? And then you're reading out the ingredients and you kind of find a way for swapping, and you're just walking around. Sophie, honestly, when a supermarket sees, because I remember when you started doing this last year.
Yeah.
Now you've got 500,000 people looking at these videos every single day.
It's mind-blowing.
Are the supermarkets going, Sophie, can I would you go down the road to the other one and give me a second, will you? Because you have to go to your local ones. You're a busy woman.
Yeah, I have heard, like, I've heard one of the, like, marketing directors of one of the big retailers is saying, oh my goodness, when we hear that voice, our heart just sinks. Like every time, like, what is she going to say now? You know, but they do also love me. They've all approached me, you know, because I really wanted to have a positive side to this and always offer a clever swap for people. I'm kind of doing the legwork for people because people do want to shop for better quality products. They want to be more informed, but people don't have the time. So, you know, I'm getting constant requests for to look at different products, and I'm kind of finding these clever swaps for people. And
that's what this is, your new book.
So you've got your new book, Sophie Swaps. Like just even for instance, like people going off and buying bread, you're giving them alternative breads that are healthier, that don't have the ultra processed.
Real bread, just the way bread should be made. You know what I mean?
But you're also, to be fair, giving the shops that people can go and find them
exactly.
in as
so
well.
It's supposed to be a really practical tool for people. You know, this is what people have been asking me for so long. Can I just have a list of all your swaps and where to get them? And so that's really a big focus of the book.
I love this as well, is that there's some Irish brands in here as well. There are some small Irish businesses and maybe businesses all over that you've really helped, because for them to compete with the big boys is almost impossible whenever there's all sorts of ingredients in
Completely. That's been a massive, massive mission of mine, because I used to be a small Irish food producer. A lot of people don't know that about my background. So I understand how brutal it is to try and compete in a supermarket space. And the reality is they don't have the budget, so they don't have any visibility. When you go into a supermarket, you're seeing the big multinational food brands that care about profit. Whereas these small producers, they really have quality, they have our health as their core values. And it's really a mission of mine to just give them more visibility, get the supermarkets to display them better and give them more opportunity so that we have access to these quality products. So that's been a huge driver of mine, and it's amazing to see.
Because it's one thing that you do. I know Conor Pope was always doing it as well. It's like where your products are placed at eye line. Like they're big companies are fighting for that prime real estate.
Eye level is buy level.
Yeah, so that's what they want, and that's something that you really do talk about as well. You're very independent. That's one thing that you've been very proud about. You're kind of like, no, I'm not going in. Like there's no spon-con.
I don't do any food. I don't do any paid collaborations.
Yeah, you're not doing anything like that. But I think for an awful lot of people, we talk about the cost of living crisis all the time. Like all of the time. And we are going in, every single person, and I don't care what bracket you're in, what used to cost you 40 quid is now costing you 60, 70, 80 quid. And for families, like you're seeing 200, now being 260.
I know.
So there is a feeling that, you know, processed food is cheaper.
Oh, absolutely. And it is. Ultra-processed food is cheaper. But I think that it does take effort, but we have to be a bit more savvy going into the supermarket. We need to remember, when you step into the supermarket, they are trying to extract as much money from us as possible. I mean, down to the layout, and I talk about it a lot in my book, the layout of the store, all those on-end aisle promotions, like you talked about the checkout trap. They're constantly just pushing at us to buy more and more and more. And like, we are influenced by these things. So I think going in there and just being a bit more savvy to their tricks can help. I also think something I've really debunked is the idea that brands are better quality. So a lot of my content is actually showing that if you swap to an own brand product, it's mostly much cheaper, but it's often better quality. Like, look at the ingredients. Really? You know, fish fingers is a really good example. People have their head, bird's eye fish fingers. They just think this is the household name. You know, there's a reason these companies put so much money into their marketing, because it works. We get brand loyalty. But if you look at the pack, I think it was the Lidl brand. In fact, all the supermarket brand fish fingers have a higher percentage of fish than bird's eye fish fingers, and they are like a fraction of the price. Wow. So making those swaps is really beneficial and will help with the cost of your shop.
Listen, you're trying to do a good thing in your eyes. You're trying to get people to eat healthier and to buy local and do what you feel is right. You get a right bit of hate from this, though, as well.
I have, yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think about this a lot. I do think it's a bit of a nature of the beast. You know, I've gone in 1 year. It's been kind of insane, the growth. You know, 500,000 in 1 year, and you know, I'm constantly, people are telling me I'm the talk in the staff room, I'm the talk in the WhatsApp groups. I'm constantly being talked about. I definitely think it's triggered some people who are working in a similar space, but you know, I think I'm actually not sure half the time, because genuinely what I do is very simple. I'm also not. I'm literally going in and talking about what's in our food. You know, look, let's help us be more informed.
And
you know,
do you think you're causing food paranoia?
I absolutely think I'm doing the opposite. I mean, I trust 99% of the messages. 99% of the messages I get are unbelievable. How I've turned people's health around. Like I got a message the other day from someone who said, I had to message you, Sophie, because I've just gotten a call from my GP. I'm no longer pre-diabetic, and so much of my food choices are down to your content. And like that just blows me away. You know, people are really turning their health around, even their mental health. I get messages from young people in particular saying, you know, they were always eating a lot of ultra-processed foods, not having any idea and really taken in by the marketing. And this one lovely young man messaged me saying like that he was totally eyes were opened from my content. He totally stopped eating a lot of the ultra-processed foods and the energy drinks and everything he was drinking. And his mental health has just improved so much. And he said, you're so important for my generation of people because our mental health really suffers and people don't realise it's from the food. You know, so like, this is what drives me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when I get 1% of people who are coming at me over certain things, I just think, this is why I'm doing it. I'm actually making a difference in people's lives. And also a huge difference in small food producers' lives.
Yeah.
I mean, those producers, their stories, they've gone from nearly being delisted from a supermarket to now having loads of shelf space, multiple retailers. We are seeing better quality products in our supermarkets. And for me, that is massive. And that will keep me going because we need less ultra-processed foods in our food environment.
When you see her, just shop behind her. You don't have to do anything. Just shop behind Sophie.
You could be there for hours. I'd
just
say you take up the whole aisle. Should she ever move on instead of looking at every packet? Sophie Swaps, it is the new book. You've got examples of swaps there. You've also got loads of recipes in there as well, which people are going to be loving that because we all love a cookbook too as well. Sophie Morris, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations.
Congratulations on the book.
Much.
Lovely to see you. Thanks a million for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Right, coming up next, he's the Lord of